Welcome back, everybody, to my channel, Ren's Collectibles. Today, we have a different video. We're going to be covering the news that's been going around a lot since yesterday that everybody's going to be talking about. I'm sure there's already been hundreds of videos about this, and there's probably going to be 100 more after mine, too. But Metazoo is officially dead. The TCG is gone. The IP is still alive, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. But Metazoo as a game, as a card game, is gone. Initially, I was pretty happy to hear the news, right? I think myself and the Cardboard Addicts podcast, which, I've been a member of for quite some time, we feel some vindication with all of this. We got kicked out of Metazoo early on. It was, early 2022? Maybe summertime of 2022. So like halfway through the ride there. We really got kicked out for no reason. Me personally, I won't even talk about the other guys, but me personally, I was banned and kind of excommunicated, disassociated with Metazoo. And I wasn't even notified or told about it or anything. It just happened one day and I couldn't access anything. And I was like, what happened? What's going on? And then after talking to people, figured out that I had been banned. And no idea why. To this day, nobody ever reached out to me, told me anything, never said like, hey, you did this wrong. We didn't appreciate this. Nothing like that. There was never any communication about it. And therein lies a huge point of why Metazoo failed. They didn't care about their customers. They did not care about any of you guys nor me at all. They were in it strictly for money, and that was it. That's why they failed. But yeah, so basically I got kicked out. I got banned, all that. There's hundreds, thousands of people at this point that all have the same story, that, they did something wrong in the eyes of Mike and got booted, essentially. So it's a very common story across the board. I'm not going to continue to bore you guys with it, but that was a key piece in Metazoo failing. So I'm trying to be as unbiased as I possibly can be. I'm trying to look at things objectively, which is why I wanted to wait until today to record and release this video, as opposed to doing it yesterday when all the news was still very, very fresh and hot and heavy. A lot of people put out emotional responses in videos, and that's fine. That is okay. There's nothing wrong with it. I wanted to put a little thought and kind of explain my thought and what I think really happened and kind of went on. The moment that we got kicked out, that I got kicked out of Metazoo, we saw right then and there that they did not care about their customers. They did not care about their clientele, their consumer. It's very easy to see when you're the one that's on the bad end of, the stick getting beat or something, But it became painfully obvious to me and a lot of others at that point that was the true case. And over the last year and a half, almost 2 years at this point, of watching Metazoo and the people within and seeing how many people have been leaving by the hundreds to get away from Metazoo or being just banned completely altogether, proves that they just did not care about their customers. And when I'm saying Metazoo, I'm literally just talking about Mike and Andy and the whole team, like the CEO team. Those guys at the very top that ran the company. Them is a small handful, a small basket of people. The community as a whole has been awesome. Even after I've left, I still, stayed part of some of these communities just because I enjoyed the people. And for a lot of us, we had like crossed interest with other TCGs like Pokemon and One Piece and Lorcana. So it's never been the community or the people, even even content creators for Metazoo who went all gung-ho in on them. You know, I was there once. I get it. I understand it and I get it. But Metazoo, Mike and them they did not care about their consumers, and it became painfully obvious with pretty much everything. They were in it for the money and the greed from the very start. That's all they ever wanted to do. Before you guys like start hitting the comments going, yeah, they're a company, of course, they're going for money. I get that. But you cannot succeed. You cannot have long-term sustained success when you treat your customers like crap. You just can't. It's impossible. It truly is. And we're at that point now. So what happened from the beginning to now? How did they die? Metazoo was one of the biggest IPs, right? In this modern times, they were arguably the biggest IP. And I think it was coupled with the fact that they treated customers poorly. There was no customer service in regards to, like, when people had questions or inquiries, they didn't get real answers back. There was nobody on the other line going, hey, here you brought a problem to us. Here, let me give you a solution, or like, hey, give us some time to look into this and see what's going on for you. Whatever the case is, it was attitude. It was disregard and disrespect from them. They'd basically say, you're going to get what you paid for. Shut up, move to the back of the line. We'll get to you when we get to you. That was the attitude going forward with the customer service piece. The other part is they were broke. I don't want to say they were broke in the sense that they had no money, but they didn't have money to fulfill anything. We said this, myself and the Cardboard Addicts podcast, we said this from 2022. They were taking pre-orders so far in advance and then so much for everything that was coming months and months and months out in advance. That was their tactic. They were trying to organize things by pre-ordering it and then using that money to create product and go, except for they never made enough to cover pre-orders, and they were bleeding money somewhere to where they couldn't fulfill. Case in point, the Sanrio Hello Kitty collab with Metazoo. Now, I wasn't part of Metazoo, and I wasn't really following them as a whole when this released. It was a surprise to me when I heard it, and I found out pretty shortly after. It was a surprise to everybody in the community. Nobody saw it coming. Nobody knew it was coming. It was just one of those things where, like, bam, here's Hello Kitty in Metazoo. And of course, everybody perceived that as, that's huge. Like, oh my God, they got one of the biggest IPs in Hello Kitty to collaborate with Metazoo. We didn't know. Some people, I won't even say it was me, but some people had even kind of said that's a smoking gun. There's a reason they're doing this, and nobody just knew or really dug too deep into it. But I think they were doing it because they needed to make money, and they needed to make it fast in order to fulfill their backlog of orders. Let's be real here. Their backlog of unreleased product and pre-orders that never got fulfilled, promos, the art series blisters and stuff. What was that, like 6 months behind? That's what I'm talking about. They were so far behind in product that they were doing pre-orders for other product to try to pay off the previous product that they already had. Like, they had no money. They were broke by all sense of the meaning. They were broke. They couldn't provide, they couldn't fulfill the orders they had because they did not have the money to do it. And they were living off this broken system of pre-order for this to pay for this. And then when this comes due, we'll pre-order for this over here to pay for that. And you can't succeed. It's never going to work that way. But then they also have the problem of their player base. They're trading card game, right? Like, they are a card game is what they're trying to say. They had a small player base, and I've always maintained that it's a small player base. There's been some people that'll try to tell me there's like tens of thousands of players in the game, but competitively, No. There wasn't. There never was. There never was. But they had enough people to where they could do these tournaments and bring people out to certain places and kind of do like Pokemon regionals type of things, you know, like with the towers, the Aura towers. But the red flag to me that always stood out, and again, on the Cardboard X podcast, you guys can go back and watch any of them. I think I even did a couple videos on this channel here. I talked about it. Where are they getting the money for all this? They were having like $250,000. I think it was. I could be wrong. It was like some absurd high amount of winnings for all these tournaments. And it was just like, where are they getting all this money from? Because it is popular. They have people investing into the game and all that. But where's the money coming from? Because we don't see it. And then you get the backlog of orders and that all those problems kind of come in. Well, it's because they didn't have the money. They were trying to get people to come out and play and buy extra product at these venues and charge extra for signatures and promos and selling plushies at absurd prices. They were trying to do every tactic in the book to make money because they owed so much. That's what it was. That's what it comes down to, truly. So much so that none of their players from the last major tournament they did have gotten paid and will probably never get paid at this point. They dug themselves into a hole so big they could never come out of. The writing has been on the wall for a while. But truly the only losers in this situation, because I'm glad that Metazoo, the company, is finally done. I'm glad they finally threw in the towel and are giving it up. They do not deserve to run a company. They're not good business people. They're not good people in general. I'm going to say it like that. Mike Waddell and his team have been awful from the start. They are not people. They don't know how to treat people with kindness and respect. They just don't. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat that or go around it. I'm sorry. The IP might live on, but the company is dead, and that's good news to a lot of us. However, for those of you in the actual community and part of the Metazoo crew, the shops, the online stores, the players, the collectors, investors, everybody in there, I'm truly sorry that you have to go through this. It's not fun going into a TCG and investing, whether it's time, money, energy, resources, whatever. You know, all these people that just bought up all the product to keep and hold and collect and bought to rip open for live streams or, you know, buy all the promos because they wanted to complete binders. And now it's kind of all to waste. It's all kind of just garbage at this point. Don't get me wrong. There's going to be a lot of people that still want to collect it, and that's great. And I will never tell you not to collect it. I will never tell you to not go after it. There's a lot of people that love the cards and the cryptids and all that in general, and that's awesome. Do your thing, man. Do not let me or anybody else stand in your way. You collect what you want to collect and how you want to collect it. But I feel bad for all those. The whole community is the one that got the rug pulled out from underneath them. Mike and his team, they took the money. They ran. They're highway bandits. They're gone. They got what they wanted and they left. It's you guys, the community, that are going to be the ones that suffer and lose out on all this. That is the pinnacle. That is like the cherry on top of what Metazoo and Mike have done and been this whole time. That is who they are. I'm sorry that a lot of you guys kind of got to this point. It sucks. It sucks. But I want to say and give you kind of like a hopeful word here. You know, there's plenty of other TCGs out there that truly love their player base, their community, their collectors, that could really use some support. I'm not going to say they could use support like they're all dying or something too, but they're smaller communities that would love to bring in other players and collectors and all that. And I know a lot of you guys only collected Metazoo, and now you kind of want to keep collecting. You don't know what to do. A lot of you guys, like I said, are going to go to Pokemon, One Piece, Lorcana. That's fantastic and fine. I collect all those as well. But allow me to suggest a couple others that you at least should check out and look into. Nostalgix TCG. You guys know on my channel, I'm a huge Nostalgix guy. I love Nostalgix. The game is fantastic. The cards are beautiful. It's worth collecting and getting into. Mythik TCG, another fantastic game. The gameplay is awesome. The creators for both of these games love their communities. They are so open and honest and down to earth with their communities. You will not find a better community than those two right there. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. You guys definitely need to check them out. I'll try to put links to all these TCGs down in my description as well, as long as I can remember. But I also highly recommend Alpha Clash TCG, Primal, Legions of Will. Those guys are fantastic. I tell you what, all these TCGs are great, but you know they're just fantastic people. They have great product. They have great cards. They have really well thought out games that play well. But it's the community that's the most rewarding piece to all of them. They might be small indie TCGs. They might not have seen the success of what Metazoo has. Some of them might not ever see that success. I mean, let's be real here. That's a high bar to set for brand new TCGs. But they're worth investing time and energy into, even your money, and being part of a great community. So I highly recommend those TCGs. But, you know, if you want to go for something that's more solid and, you know is going to be there for a while, come back to Pokemon. We'd love to have you guys back. I have been a Pokemon person for the entire existence of this channel, so over 4 years now, 5 years really. And I've just really gotten into competitive play, and it's fantastic. I'm going to throw that out there. But this video went on way too long. I really didn't want to talk this long, and I couldn't stop. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. I hope you guys liked the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you do. I likely won't do much more with Metazoo unless other future developments, big developments happen. But just know that you guys have a place in my community as well as all these other communities out there if you want to join in. So thank you very much, and we will see you guys in the next video.